Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash. Now, the 24th of May, 2023. We're pretty much a month away from the 1 year anniversary of that date, and that was when the series finale for The Flash aired last year. It doesn't feel like it's almost been a year since that happened. I mean, it doesn't feel like it was yesterday, but definitely doesn't feel like it was a year ago. But then again, time flies. But today, at least American time, because that's when I plan to upload this, is the 25th of April, 2024. Now, the 25th of April is my birthday. Now, it's my birthday tomorrow from when I'm recording this video, but I guess American time when this comes out, it's now my birthday. But, you know, in regards to this video, my birthday's, well, I want to say it's important, but, you know, it's not important to the video because the 25th of April, 2024 is, of course, the day that the Flash goes missing, vanishes in crisis. Now, this isn't going to be some sort of video, some weird theory video, which makes no sense doing it because the show has come and gone. There's no point theorizing about anything like that. But I thought, why not use this opportunity to talk about my favorite, let's not just go into like slang, but yeah, my favorite Flash moments as a fan and just watching and covering the show. Not necessarily saying, oh, this moment from this episode and stuff, but general periods of covering the show, which I just remember deeply, and my favorite times talking and covering about the show and interacting with you guys and everything like that. And, you know, throughout the video, let me know in the comments section down below some of your favorite moments watching the show, whether it's a specific season, a specific period of time, whatever it might be. I'm always curious and especially with this, I'm just interested to see what people say because you have different things. I've written down 7, yes, I can count 7 of my favorite moments and like periods covering the show since I started really doing this channel and everything like that. So I just want to talk about a bit of them and see if anyone can remember, if you've been watching for a while or even recently, whether you remember this period. So yeah, let me know in the comment section down below any of your favorite moments, because I'm always interested to hear them. And of course, if you enjoy the video, drop a like. It takes 2 seconds, especially for a special video like this. So the first one, I'm just going to sort of go in rough order of, you know, when they sort of happen in it. And the first one's pretty simple. Now, it's like my channel really started to grow in season 2 of The Flash. But I remember some of the most interesting things about that was really the simple question of who is Zoom, which then like sort of like morphed into who was in the Iron Mask. But I guess the general thing was who is Zoom. Like that was a big topic of conversation then, and I loved making those videos and, you know, seeing what people were thinking and like the different evidence. Like if you weren't there at the time and maybe you caught up later, because I know there's a lot of people that like when it dropped on Netflix and stuff, and maybe it was around season 3 or season 4, maybe even later when those seasons were airing, that people watched those earlier seasons. But if you were watching season 2 at the time, like there was some crazy theories that were going on and what people were picking apart and everything like that. But I remember I was just always excited to make a video on that and then read the comments and see what other people were saying. And I remember like there was all these different things. You weren't spamming them out every week, but it was also interesting seeing other people's videos on YouTube or, you know, on Twitter or on Reddit or, you know, whatever the platform was. It was just a really interesting period. And also it was just a big period for my channel, because I remember that's when like it was just like a growth period of sorts that like it was just enjoyable to make that content at that specific time, which, you know, and I know it changed over the years where like the identity thing didn't necessarily continue going on, but it was just a really fun period at that time. The next big memory I have really specifically was the Flashpoint build-up, even when like some of those early set photos came out when you saw Wally West as Kid Flash, but also just the end of season 2 setting up Flashpoint and a lot of the different, you know, conversations around that as well. And I remember there was all that lead up to Comic-Con because of those set photos, and we heard there was going to be these different things revealed and, you know, all that different stuff. But the Flashpoint build-up was a big one as well, once again playing into like the channel and everything like that, and being a turning point for the channel and everything. That was a big one as well, and just the lead up to when season 3 episode 1 dropped was just a big thing. And that sort of goes into the next thing, which is who is Savitar, which sort of plays into sort of similar things with the who is Zoom stuff. But I remember the big thing with Savitar is because it was a bit more of an obscure villain, they were changing it, and there's a lot of teasers in regards to who it could possibly be. Like this definitely had more options than Zoom. Like Zoom was like, well, it's probably going to be Hunter Zolomon from, you know, who's in the comics, so it's more like who actually is Hunter Zolomon. While with Savitar, there's no connection to it in the comics with an identity, so that, you know, everyone was like, well, who's it going to be? And it was a much more open conversation in regards to who it could be, and there was crazy options. I'm sure if you're watching at the time or even look up now, you could probably look up now and just type in "who is Savitar Theory" or something like that, and see some videos from, goodness me, what, 7 years ago or something like that. What would it have been, 7 years ago, maybe 7+ years ago, in regards to some of the crazy stuff. Like, I mean, to clarify, if you weren't watching at the time or you forget, one of the hot theories, if not number one theories for like 1 week, was that Ronnie Raymond was Savitar. That's how wild it got at certain points. So the "who is Savitar" thing was a big thing as well. The next one I have is actually it's sort of funny. And you might be surprised, but I actually put season 5. Now, I've been like fairly open that I'm not the biggest fan of season 5. I think it sort of drops the ball a bit. I think it was a lot of hype going into it from the end of season 4 into it, and it just didn't really live up to a lot of expectations that I had and a lot of people had. Some people really like it. I'm not the biggest fan of it at all. But I really enjoyed covering that season. I actually think, though I don't like the season that much, it's probably my like second or third favorite season covering the show, just because there was so much to talk about. And I think season 5, funnily enough, was probably the height in regards to maybe the YouTube side of it, in regards to like the amount of people that were, because there's also people still catching up, watching the previous seasons and everything like that. So I think season 5 was probably the height of that. And also I want to say the community in regards to people making content as well. So like season 5, funnily enough, though I don't really like the season too much, was a really enjoyable season to cover. Like, I remember some of the live streams and stuff where there was just me or other people involved, on whether it was on my channel or other people's channels and stuff, was a really fun one to do. So yeah, funnily enough, season 5, which I honestly, it's the last thing I wrote, but I've shoved it up a bit high just to do like chronological order. But yeah, I wasn't expecting to put that down, but I had to think back. I'm like, yeah, I actually really enjoyed covering that season. The next thing is the Crisis build-up. Now, this is arguably one of my favorite, if not the favorite, periods ever. Like, that whole thing from the end of season 5 of The Flash, funnily enough, once again, and just the other shows and that whole break. And that was the year I went to Comic-Con, which ended up being the last year that any of the Arrowverse shows went to Comic-Con. That was a crazy build-up, and it's still my I think it has to be the favorite time, at least in regards to being excited about the shows coming up, making content, interacting with people watching the content, live streams, and then of course when the actual shows started coming out. I think that has to be my favorite period. It was just, there was so much news because you're getting you're getting to talk about the stuff for the upcoming seasons, like what was happening in Flash, Arrow, blah blah blah. But then you were also getting the Crisis filming and what was happening in Crisis, and it was such a big crossover and there was so much happening. It was my favorite thing. Like, I think I've talked about this once before, or maybe a couple times, I'm not too sure. But like, my sleep schedule was ruined because I had to wake up at like 3, 4 a.m. to see the news. Otherwise, I was waking up like 5 hours after it came out. I was like, well, I don't necessarily want to like jump on the news straight away and not think about what I'm doing, but I also don't want to be like, miss the jump. And there was so much coming out. You're getting like 2 or 3 pieces of things. It was ridiculous, but it was so fun to cover at the same time. It was definitely my favorite thing. Yeah, I think it has to be my favorite thing out of this list. Though, like, the beginning with the Who is Zoom thing is a pretty close second as well. The next thing is actually a pretty surprising one, but like, I remember when it happened, there was a lot of like dread and worry about it, but the COVID break, and it's weird because nothing was coming out, and you might be like, why is that the thing? But I think it was also a bit of a reset, and I know a lot of people went back and watched some of the older seasons because people wanted stuff to watch, but there wasn't shows coming out because they delayed them, no movies coming out because they delayed them, because everything like that. So the COVID break, funnily enough, is a period I look back at pretty fondly in regards to making content, talking about all the shows and everything like that, and specifically The Flash, and a lot of the talk around that. Of course, there was drama because it was during the COVID break that like Hartley Sawyer got fired from the show and all those different things, and I think something else happened from memory. I can't remember what it was, but there's a lot of different aspects around that. But I do look back not at the actual pandemic itself, but that period of the YouTube side of things and involving with whether it was The Flash or the other shows and everything like that as well. So I do, funnily enough, look back at the COVID break pretty fondly as well. And the last thing is, finally, I didn't put season 9 here, and it's sort of like a weird thing. Once again, I think I've talked about it in a video. It might have actually been like whilst the final season was still airing. But season 9, like, I don't know if I took it for granted in regards to not appreciating that it was the final season of the show, but I don't really, and maybe that was just because I had a feeling, and I know I've said this in a video, I had a feeling that it wasn't going to be that great of a final season. I just felt like a lot of the chips that were in place, if you want to put all the some of the pieces that were on the chessboard, just didn't look like they were going to work. And I roughly, not roughly, I enjoyed the final storyline decent enough. Like I'd give it like a 7.5 out of 10. But the season as a whole had some errors and stuff like that, so I didn't put that there. The final thing I put down in regards to fond memories was Armageddon, and it wasn't necessarily the build up, because I think, if you remember, like I wasn't too sure what it was going to be. Some of the set photos came out, which got me excited, and then when the trailer came out, I was pretty excited as well. But the actual concept of the plan of Armageddon, I was just like, okay, well, we'll see how it goes. But when it started airing, I really, really loved that 5-week period of the Armageddon event playing out, and I like season 8 as a whole. So like it was the start of what I think is a pretty damn good season of the show. Some hiccups here and there, but overall I think the season's a pretty damn good one. But Armageddon was just a fun thing, that 5-week period, especially those first 3 to 4 episodes as well. Like I still remember I did Q&As for them, which I hadn't done for like a couple of years, because there was so much talk and theories about what was exactly happening with Armageddon, and what these story points meant and everything like that, and what was really going on. So Armageddon was definitely one that I look back fondly as well. And once again, the discussion points, whether it was just making videos or doing live streams and everything like that. And it was something that I know people enjoyed, going along with the ride at that point as well. But yeah, it's weird to think that since the beginning of the show, when we had that tease of the April 25 or the 25th of April 2024, whichever way you want to put it, that we are now here, and we're now going past that point. It's crazy that it was that long ago, but also doesn't feel like it was that long ago, and that we're all getting a bit older now. That it's sort of crazy to think that we're now here, but that's life, if you want to put it. But I think this moment of like that date popping up is a fun time to look back at memories with the show and everything like that. And it's also like we're turning into I think Superman and Lois just wrapped a day or two. I think it was I think it's set for the 22nd. So I don't think they I'm not too sure. I haven't actually looked up if they've actually finished, because I think they might have gone past that date, but they might have finished today when I'm making this. I'm not too sure. I haven't really checked. But they're roughly finished around the time before whenever this video is going up. So it's weird that we've entered this date of, the Flash vanishing and this time period that we're looking forward to. And the final CW DC show has roughly ended filming forever. So there's no more DC on the CW, at least in regards to new stuff coming out ever. At least what we shouldn't assume. We're moving into this new era going forward with like the James Gunn stuff, which, fingers crossed works out, but you never know what's going to happen there. So it's just a fun time to look back on those memories and, what you enjoyed the most and all that stuff. But yeah, let me know in the comment section down below what your fondest memories are from the show, whether it is like, as I said, a specific season or a specific, just period of a season. Like I said, like the Who Was Zoom conversation or the Flashpoint build up or the Crisis build up. Let me know just your favorite one. I'm always curious to hear what you guys are thinking, especially with this stuff. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like, takes 2 seconds. If you want to subscribe, feel free to subscribe, takes 2 seconds as well. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Goodbye.